basketball fans. It's me, DC, here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer and help you get ready for week 21 of the NBA season. There's a good chance many leagues are done now. If you're still watching this, either you're a fan of the channel and I appreciate the support, or you're headed into your last week of Roto or your championship game. And if you're in the championship, congrats. And if you're still watching and got knocked out, condolences. It's amazing to be in the championship, but really the best test of a fantasy player is just making it into the playoffs because it requires skill and paying attention and watching good YouTube channels that have good advice, but it requires luck too. And that LeBron didn't just sit for 2 days for you and all the other things that come into play. So we're going to do what we can to prep for week 21, and we're going to start how we always do by looking at the pace and defensive efficiency. All right, it's week 21. Looking at these teams, I don't think we have too many surprises, right? Minnesota, Sacramento, Washington, Houston, Portland are up at the top. OKC, Indiana, New Orleans are all also above 108, which is that sweet spot we want to get after. Down at the bottom, New York, Utah, Lakers, Miami. Phoenix has been creeping out of those toughest spots, right? But they're still down there with Philly, Phoenix. Clippers and Denver are all in that 105 range to give you a little bit of a feel. But Phoenix and Philly are like a half point ahead of those guys. So when I go over to the next side, I didn't actually tag Denver and Clippers. Their pace being so slow is what's really helping them, kind of like Miami's. It's not necessarily their defense that's being shocking. Something that was shocking to me, though, look at Golden State right there in the middle of the grid. They play up in pace, but their defense has really come around. So they're at 110, which makes them fifth on this defensive efficiency rating, right? These are from cleaning the glass, and cleaning the glass will cut out garbage time. At the end of the games, with the blowouts, if starters aren't playing, they trim that out. So I'm using these numbers to give us a better sample because not all games are going to have garbage time, right? So I went over to look at just the per possession ratings, and Golden State's still fifth. It ends up being 107 instead of 110 if you don't cut the garbage time off, right? Because the worst players are playing. It improves your defensive efficiency there at the end if you're playing against the bench. But they still end up fifth overall, like the fifth best defense. And that surprised me a little bit. So that's enough to take their pace, take them out of there. But I thought from basketball that was interesting and might have play-in ramifications. But it won't have week 21 impact. So let's go look at the strength of schedule. All right, looking at week 21, we've got 4 teams with 5 games, right? We previewed it a little last week. It's Indiana, Memphis, Milwaukee, and San Antonio. San Antonio in particular has a good streaming week on top of these 5 games. But any weekly lock leagues, if you can get 5 games out of good players, you want to get them in there. You want to get that extra chance. You got a good chance to stream them. Detroit and OKC only have 3 games. So, they had some 5-game weeks and they had good streaming weeks leading into it. With only 3 games, it's going to be basically impossible to play those guys. I do want to make an exception. If you're watching this right now on Saturday, I'm recording this Saturday before the games happen. Saturday, Sunday, Detroit does have a back-to-back. Sekou Doumbouya is being a hot pickup. He's only 12% rostered. He's been playing well this week, and I mentioned it in last week's video where I said he's 1% rostered. Right now, I'm not screwing around with it. But look at Detroit for that back-to-back at the end of the week. I would give him a look. If you're watching this Saturday, you might want to scoop him up and play him now, and then you're going to want to cut bait. So if you've got the move, go for it. But Detroit's not really where you want to be, taking your shot for next week. Overall, you can look at the schedule, and I've got the grid down below as always. Let's take it over and look at back-to-backs. So I went ahead and flagged all the back-to-back games like I normally do. And what we usually run through, and we still will, is the teams that we know rest certain players so that you know that you're going to miss a couple of games there. But this week's harder than ever, right? It's the final week. It's why I don't love your weekly head-to-head leagues going into the last week, is because some teams are just going to be resting, some teams won't. I think the play-in's actually going to help a lot. If the Lakers are healthy, they really want to get out of the play-in. There's been much to do about it, and I'm not going to dive into all that right now. But let's run through it. Boston, yes, 2 back-to-backs, so you can expect Kemba to miss some games there. Detroit, no back-to-backs. They've got 3 games, and Hayes actually just played in a back-to-back last week, so we don't have to worry about that too much, but Detroit is just resting guys. They've got nothing to play for. Houston, no back-to-back. Clippers, yes, back-to-back. Lakers, 2 back-to-backs. So LeBron's out right now, hoping to come back. AD gave us a scare this week when he got hurt, but he played the very next day, so we're assuming that's okay. They have something to play for, but they might just need to rest because really they're still hoping to make noise in the postseason. I mean, it's just a guess. In your weekly lock leagues, I think you got to play your superstars and hope that they're there, but don't be confident in it. It's scary. It's the best advice I could do, but you might miss some time. I don't know, especially with the double back-to-back. Memphis, they've got 2 back-to-backs. OKC, only 3 games, no back-to-backs. Can't use the guys too much. Washington, back-to-backs don't really matter, but nope, no back-to-backs there. There are a lot of back-to-backs scared throughout, right? Like San Antonio's got 2 back-to-backs. A lot of teams ended up with 2 back-to-backs because, well, either they're playing 5 games or just the end of the week. You can see a bunch of these games that are on Saturday were originally scheduled for Friday. When the league came out, there was no games on Saturday, which was wackadoo. So they moved them over. And then Sunday, you can obviously see every single team in the league has a game to end the season. Now let's figure out how we're going to do our streaming. So looking at the bottom of the grid, let's run through it. Monday, 6 games. Tuesday, 11. Wednesday, 6, 9, 8, 6 again on Saturday. Sunday with 15 games. So Sunday, you can't stream anyone because you're going to play your best players. Every single team's playing. You're literally just going to play your top however many starting spots you got. 8, 10, that's what you're playing. So they're off the board. Tuesday's 11 games. You're probably not going to get in too many. Friday, Thursday, maybe. They're 9 and 8 games. So some of the things you'll see if you look at Portland, San Antonio, I highlighted some games there on Thursday, even though there's 9. Maybe you can get them in because it's just over half. I mean, it's 18 teams. So it's over half the league. Maybe it wouldn't work out for you. But the big days to attack, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. 6 games for each of them. So that was kind of the focal point. It was actually even the Monday, Wednesday to start your week strong. If you could pick up people that are going to play on those streaming days, I highlighted those. And then if they happen to have a Saturday, kind of mesh. So, for example, like the Lakers, they play Wednesday, Saturday, and I highlighted them because they have 2 streaming days, but that's a long time to pick someone up. You know, the Knicks, Houston back-to-back, sure, but are you going to hang on to them with no games until Saturday against Indiana? Maybe not. Houston's a sweet matchup, so we'll see. So I highlighted it, but your mileage is going to vary, especially if you can make daily changes and you're in head-to-head in category leagues. Like, you're going to have to be making moves for what you need to try and win your championship, right? It could be tight. I'm right now still in a 4-4 tie in championship, which I've got the tiebreaker, but I got to watch it close to see how this goes. So overall, if you're streaming, if you can get one of the teams with a 5-game week, that's great. They're not all created equal, but neither are the players, right? So Indy's only playing on 2 of the good streaming days. Memphis doesn't have any. I mean, that's not true. I didn't highlight any. They play Monday against the Pelicans, so that's a cool matchup. They get Sacramento. It's unfortunately Thursday, Friday, but they could play Sacramento twice. They have a good week, right? Pelicans, Dallas, Sacramento twice, and Golden State. Like, you like those matchups, but they're not falling on great days, which is different than, say, San Antonio that's getting 4 games on the good streaming days. They've got a little bit harder of a schedule, right? They end with Knicks, Phoenix. Not psyched about those matchups, but if you can grab someone from Portland, San Antonio, or Atlanta, you see the big boxes I put around them. They've got 3 games in the first 4 days. That's a great way to make your early waiver moves, or if you've got extra waiver spots to burn right now in week 20, try and target some guys there that you can grab, and then you'll shift for the end of the week, depending on how things are going, right? Maybe a Clippers with the back-to-back there in the middle of the week, something like that. You can make those moves, or try to attack any of these teams that are playing on Saturday. There's 12 teams playing Saturday. They all have back-to-backs. If they have a Saturday game, they're guaranteed a back-to-back. So if you can look at that schedule as kind of the approach, like, okay, I picked up some guys from San Antonio. I've got Keldon Johnson, whatever. Now, they happen to also have that back-to-back. So if they're rolling, you just stick with your Spurs. You're feeling good about it. But maybe you grab someone from Portland, and then you can look and be like, the Lakers get Indiana and the Pelicans. I want a piece of that. Or the Bucks get Miami and Chicago. Like, Miami's not a great matchup, but Chicago is. That would generally be my feeling here is, depending on what's on your waiver wire, grab some Spurs. They're going to feel safe. We're going to talk about waivers tomorrow, but that would be my overall strategy going into this week. And I just said it. We're going to talk about waivers tomorrow. I'm going to be back for another video. And the season's wrapping up, so that one could be the last video, but I'd love to keep doing it. So leave some comments if there's stuff you want. We could do DFS throughout the playoffs. If you guys are into that, I could talk about some DraftKings picks. Or we could do some recaps of biggest busts, best moves. Start looking into next season. Get ready for the draft. Let me know what you guys want. I'd love to keep building the community and making videos coming through. But if everyone just needs a rest after you get done with 21 weeks of the season, I get that too. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment. See you guys tomorrow. And go out and win your week. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.